Hello everybody and welcome back to Saxlingham. So a lot has changed. I think it's the most that's ever changed between two episodes. So David came on to us desperate, pleading with us whether we would be able to sort out the equipment to be able to do this field of his. It is a fairly massive field, but he said if we can find the equipment, it means that he will supply a lot of the staff. So I've agreed. And I've found some equipment. Some of it is leased, some of it is bought. So as we go round the corner here, I'll start to be able to talk you through everything that's going on, because you'll see that there is a whole heap of equipment just here. So if we pull here and just hop out, so we have the New Holland, this CR11 with a 15.2 metre header on. This is leased, the whole thing, so we don't own any of that. That's the header trailer for it. We also have on demo the MacDon, which this is its own header trailer when you unfold it, and this is 15.2 metres. Obviously that's our combine, which I'm hoping will run this, but time will tell. And like I say, if it does work, this could be something that we look at, and it may very well be selling our header and trailer this episode. So that's our John Deere and our Bailey trailer. This is our Bailey trailer now, so I bought that outright, and this was in the sale. So it's got 6 hours on it, and we've bought it. It's a Fendt 728 Vario. So it's 300 Vario. Can't remember. It's 303 horsepower, and we customised it to get it in the Black Beauty with black rims and with this sort of silver mesh on the front. So that is why the bank balance is now down to 19,701. Obviously, getting this contract done, this will supply us with a fair bit of money. I am thinking that the New Holland is over there somewhere, and they should just be about to start a fertiliser contract, and we've also got a cultivating contract. At the end of this episode, the New Holland is going, so we're going to sell that to get some money back. And I think if this header works, we're going to sell our header, sell our trailer, and then come next year we can acquire ourselves one of these. But like I say, it has to work first. So let's hop into here. We've already got it all unfolded. I will just set this up for our worker friends, because they can sometimes be not the greatest. So let's just park this up here and let's get the GPS all sorted for them. So that is our first worker off, and now if we just turn this on and drop it down, we will just proceed into the field ever so slightly, because this is a big one. I don't know whether this is going to work. So by the looks of that, we still have the right amount of horsepower to do this. And now we can leave this worker to get cracked on here. So let's hop out quickly, and we will let that go on its merry way. And we better just go have a word with these members of staff. I've used the John Deere a lot. I want to start having a look at going in the Fendt. So we want to just pull this now on forward and get this onto the side over here, because I know one of the problems we're going to have is our class will load up. It will fill up a lot quicker than what the New Holland will do. Right, this wants to be roughly about here maybe. And now with the John Deere parked up waiting there, we can go get into our old Fendt. I've left the door open, but luckily with it turned off, the air conditioning, it won't be too bad, I wouldn't have thought. So if we hop in, we just want to get this door closed, like so. And let's just turn on and we can pull ourselves onto the field. And then like I say, I imagine it will be our class that will need emptying first. So what I will do is I will look to take the first load off him, and then I can take the first load off the New Holland, and then That guy there in the John Deere, that worker, he can stay there for as long as he wants, waiting. But for me, the way I see it, I'm in a more powerful tractor and I'm in a faster tractor, so it makes a lot more sense to me that I should be doing sort of the majority, if I can, the majority of the leading. If we don't keep an eye on this worker, then things will slow down drastically, because we need him to try and keep up with the New Holland. But obviously the New Holland, the grain tank on there is huge compared to what our class has. But in time, we should be well up there. At least one would certainly hope. The dealership did offer me a lorry with a fairly big trailer for that, to help us out through that contract, and I'm very glad that we turned that down, for the pure fact of, to get it into here would be an absolute nightmare, because even just coming in as we are like this, you got to take everything really wide, to swing yourself around and in, and especially with being in new tractor to us, I should say. It's done 6.4 hours now, and a brand new trailer. The last thing I'd want to do is go and do any damage to them. But we are absolutely flying through this contract, and what I'd be very interested to see when we get back to the field and stop, hopefully we'll get a chance to stop, is to see the size of it and see whether it is the biggest or not, because this just shows that two combines, yes, they're both 15.2 metre headers on, but two combines on them, you just fly through ground like no tomorrow. I certainly wouldn't want to be doing like a sugar beet or potato harvest in some of these fields. And it also helps that we are currently cruising at 39 miles an hour. Well, it looks like we're going to have to go take a tip, possibly straight away. I don't know how much ladder John Deere's got, but obviously, as I stated at the start, I wanted to try avoid using him if I could. He's there as a backup if any of these do fill up, because it's more the class I'm worried about filling up than the New Holland. So I thought, well, at least if we've got a backup, it takes a bit of pressure off. It is handy that the grain mill is relatively close. Right, where is, let's keep pulling forward. Oh, there we go, we're emptying now. It's been a while since I took a tip off a combine. It's always trying to stay straight, but I know with John Deere, if you have a John Deere tractors and trailers, I've gone off course there. Have I gone off course? If you have a John Deere combine harvester and tractors, you can sync them all up with each other so that they all work, so that you don't have to keep looking forward and so on. Right, there's 57% in there. Let's spin back around again. This is where that John Deere is going to creep up on me. There he is. We will take this load, and then I think it's just the one more load, after this, and then we're completely, I think it's done, which this is just what I find just amazing, is how quickly we've managed this. So clans are always a bit further forward. I always feel they're a bit further forward, their augers. And am I too far to the left? Let's turn. I'm completely missing this. Well, that was absolutely terrible. We better stick in third person to make sure that we can take a tip, because we didn't get a single piece of grain off him then. Right, we'll just wait here, let him do a turnaround. One thing I also forgot about is that John Deere. I think we need some new tyres on it, so that could be something that needs doing in the very near future. And I'm definitely buying that header that's on the class now. That's what we're getting next year. Yeah, and then we know that we have the biggest header, which I don't think, it'd be interesting to know whether in real life you can get a header bigger than that, because I know the flex on them, you get to a point where just the flex is too much, you know, the weight on the outside. I know they've got the wheels on which is alright when you're travelling on the ground, but when you've got it lifted for turning corners or anything like that, you know, it'd be interesting to see how big they actually do go. Oh, that's annoying. Just shy. So 93. We'll have to just keep going till we get to 100%. 99 and 100. So by the looks of it, we should be able to get ourselves spun round and back again before they both need emptying. But like I say, I don't know what the ladder and the John Deere's got. Alright, let's get this to the mill. Let's get this tipped. Our own worker, because these three workers are all they're all David's lot. Obviously I just organised the equipment and bought some myself. I thought it was a good reason to do so. Our own worker, he is currently cultivating down in field 53. So I'll just get this reversed into here, and then I think it will just be one more load after this, and we may even get paid on the next load going in. But I know one thing, it's hot in here, so we'll just open that there, and we might as well open that back one. Right, now that's tipped, we'll get ourselves back to the field. Well, I'd say perfect timing. John Deere, oh, he's just moving now. Is one of these flashing? I know I am, but I can't see which one of these may need emptying, unless I'm being very blind. But anyways, we might as well, we'll continue right to end with the New Holland, because we might as well just get as much in this as possible, and then the John Deere, I'm sure, can deal with the class. So we are at the end of the line now with the New Holland. So I'll be interested to see whether this worker is going to go. Yeah, he's disappeared. So if he's doing that, we will run over here and we'll just get this pulled out of the way, because we don't want to get in the way of the lad who's driving the class. So we'll just pull him up there for now, and let's hop out, jump back into here, and we'll get a full, well, we should be able to get a full trailer. I'll be very surprised if we don't. And then ladder in John Deere, he's gonna have to do something. I think he's just chilled out all day. Like I say, it'd be very interesting to actually know what he's got, or whether whether he has been helpful or not. But right, let's take this tip. And you can tell how long this field's taken. It's taken half an hour. Because this was 6 hours on this tractor when we bought it. And it's now saying 6.5. Right, we'll get this tipped. John Deere's on his way. He'll get some in there, and he'll get it sold. And this is very nice to know that we've paid for both trailers. So I'm sure someone will tell me, but I have forgotten how many loads I've done. We should get some money for this now. So 5,000, well, let's say just shy of 7,000 there for our load. And I think whilst we're here, we'll go drop this trailer off back at the yard now, because we don't need it for up there, and we need to try keep our yard looking tidy, because everything's just sort of been thrown here, there and everywhere because we've been that busy. So we'll try our best to get this tucked right into the corner, and to be fair, it'll look quite smart having all these trailers in, because we've still got our Bailey sort of bale trailer that's to come in at some point. But we are going to, in one of the next episodes, we're going to have to do some grass silage, and then, like I said, I want to get that field sold, that small one of ours. I think where it is, it's not sort of big enough for us. But right, let's give our workers a call and find out what's going on. So for what I gather, everyone is slowly making their way back now, so we can go and collect on these contracts. So the first one was cultivating, so we will collect on that one. Then there was some fertilising done. This was all done by our worker. And then the big one, field, 18. So we'll collect on that, and then we should have, there should be some more. So we've shot up to 69,000. Here's our worker back in the New Holland. So, we don't want to. We filled it up the other day, which was very silly. We shouldn't have done that. Now, if we knew that there was this vent coming up, we would never have refilled, because that's now just a waste of money. So let's hop into here. We will. Where is the best place to store this cultivator? Because I would like to, in time, I'd like to get some more sheds, but at the minute, it's just not viable. We can squeeze everything we need to into the sheds that we already have. So let's drop that off there. I'm going to put this onto the header trailer and the header, because all of this is going to be sold. Because now we've got the Fent, we don't need the New Holland, which is a shame, because I do like this New Holland. And in an ideal world, it would probably be worth keeping this and get rid of the John Deere. But we'll have a quick look in magazine and see what prices we'll get for both of them. Well, to me, that tells you everything you need. We'll get more money for the New Holland than what we will the John Deere, and there's only 50 horsepower difference. So, yeah. Unfortunately, the New Holland is the one going. So we better get down to the store. And like I said, we'll get the header sold, we'll get the trailer sold, and that should bring even more money in. And I may even, depending on how much money we make, we may even look at buying a new field, because I'm toying with the big grass field down there, because then at least when it comes to grass work, we're going into one field and we're doing a lot in that one field. And there we go, there's some more money coming. That's the remainder of the wheat sold from that harvest, where it's about just over £8,500. So if we just turn left into here now, we can say goodbye to the New Holland and to our header, which, to be fair, we haven't even really had it long. It was the first harvest we've done with it, and straight away we've got rid of it because we found bigger and better, which I think that happens quite a lot in life. It would be nice to have kept with it, but we need to also think about the future and us building all the time. But just before we do sell it, I do want to have a look and just see if that was the biggest field on the map. So the field is 25, let's just say 26 acres. So that's not bigger. Okay, so field 16 is slightly bigger, so we've got 26 acres there. See that field, it's 21 acres, it looks big, but it's not that big. 30, okay, so there's the biggest, we live right next to the biggest field. So that's 30 acres. You can do that in an hour, considering the time we did that in. So what's that, 30.6 acres, how big is this one? 32, okay, we are getting fairly big now. This is the field I'm interested in buying if we have the finances. So we need 258,000 to be able to buy that. So let's work through. So the header, we may have to. Let's just go finalise our agreements on hire purchase. So the header, we settle early, 65. So we'll do that, and then if we go to here, we will be, well, we can't repaint, we can repair it and sell it. So there's 109 there. We can sell the header trailer because we bought that outright. The weight we bought outright, so we can sell that. And then the tractor, we owe some money on that, I think. So let's go to here, and the T7 it is. So settle early, 85,000. Now let's go into here, and go into here. Let's repair, repaint. We're not going to replace the tyres, and we're going to sell that. So we're now up to 187, which I don't quite understand how that's the case, how we have so little. I would have thought we'd have more money, but it must just be that we had hardly paid off any of those vehicles. But if we go on to here, how much is this little grass field of ours? That's only worth 61. So we're getting close to being able to buy field 32, but by doing all this, it would leave us no money for anything else. But right, our pickup has now arrived, so we will jump in that and we will return back to the farm. On second thoughts, we will pull into here, and I think we will call that a day, and we will move on and see what the next month brings us. Hopefully, some good fortune. Well, there is some good fortune after all. Our tram lines are gone. So we just have one set of tram lines which are the perfect width apart, or what I would imagine would be the perfect sort of width apart. We do need to get in here and weed. It says we can use a hoe and or we can spray. But let's just have a run down, well, a drive down to the field just beneath us here, because that one will most likely need a spray as well, and if that's the case, we'll probably look at leasing a sprayer. Yeah, you can see the weeds coming through, and from this angle it doesn't look too bad, but it's when, and I'm sure they won't mind, well, I won't mind, I own the field. If I go along this bottom here, you'll then see, so you'll see that bottom tram line's wide as no tomorrow, and up there's God knows how many tram lines. So when we harvest this next, we've got the subsoiler to rip all these tram lines out and completely start again. But let's get into the yard and we will have a look to see what sprayers there are about. So there's no spraying contract, so we'll leave that for today. But we are going to go, we've found that there's a mowing contract, so our workers on with that. And I even had a word with the dealership saying that I was very interested in one of their tractors, and this is what they have offered me to go to trial, because we also have a cultivating job. So this is something that I would quite like to see what it's like. I think it shouldn't be so bad. It's very sensitive is the steering, which is always good depending on where you're going. And we'll take this and get this contract done, which it shouldn't take us too long, which I think that must be, I should have that, I should start some merch and have that on a t-shirt. It shouldn't take us too long. So it is actually a field our worker did, or at least I think our worker did in one of the previous episodes, so he would know how to get into it, but I certainly don't at the minute. It's taking me a very weird way, unless, here we go, we can now go through the trees and get to it, I would presume. So whilst there's plenty of space, we'll get this unfolded, because it's also nice to use, because I would quite like our cultivator It's not the biggest of cultivators, so it's always nice to demo slightly bigger ones, which this is 1.5 meters bigger, and it's something for us to look at sort of in the near future. So we will start on this tram line here. So if we drop down and go on that, we'll work this way around, and then we'll do the middle of the field, and then we can finish off with the 2 other tram lines. I am a big fan of these tractors. I think if I said it when we were demoing the Class tractor, just how brilliant they are. And especially if you look on the back there where the implement attaches on, you can do a 90 sort of degree turn without catching anything, which I know when I've used one of the Class machines before, is it the TerraTrack, or I can't remember what it's called now, your implement is set in between the back 2 tracks, so you can't do those tight turns, which it just becomes such a nuisance over time. Whilst at least with something like this, that's taken completely out of the equation. Right, there is another contract done, and that will conclude this episode. It's nice to do different things. Ooh, don't crash into our wall. And to do that big harvest and actually see how quickly you can get through it when you're using the biggest headers. Obviously you don't have far to lead because we're just going to the old grain mill, but then we did have 39 miles an hour. Let's just have a look at something here. If we go on to we need to pull our deeds out to see what we own. 39. Okay, so we don't own. I don't know who owns. Okay, they own. To be fair, we could just go and buy ourselves a load of grass, because there's this grass here. I know I'm sidetracking, but if we really wanted to, there's all this grass here that we could go and get. And if I click on 90, what did I click on before? Why is that now not coming up? I clicked on something and I got it. No. There we go. So you can purchase all the tracks and that bit. I'm going to do that. I'm going to get and acquire this, because then, like I say, if we don't sell that little field, we now have a bit more grass that we can do, and it'll be a bit of sort of agro what's it called, forestry. But or it could mean that now we have to make sure that we keep the place looking neat and tidy, which there is a hedge cutter that we could buy to cut the grasses down the side of these tracks, just to keep our drive nice, neat and tidy. But we'll pull this into the yard, and then that, I think, will be that. There should be a gate hole just on the right hand side here, which will mean it's a slightly shorter trip. There it is. And with this being so tight on the steering, not a bother at all. And then we can just flick straight through into here. Like so. So I am wanting to stay because John Deere have been very, very good to us. When we are buying new tractors, we are sticky with John Deere. If there's, like with the Fendt, a second-hand tractor like this that comes up, then we will also look at getting it because, well, it's second-hand basically. All right, let's close the roof. Let's close the back. This one's just pulling into the shed. And then, yeah, I think I said it 2 or 3 times, but then that will be it for this episode. And we will look to see what there is to do in the next one. It may involve doing some grass work. Right, that can stay there and turn off. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've all liked and enjoyed the video, and I will see you again in the next one. Bye for now.